Hey guys, this is Maker of the Beauty, and I'm welcoming you to my template number 3 tutorial video. Let me just show you what the template looks like. I hope I left at least one petal that I did not finish up curling, because I wanted to show you what I did with it, and I did. Good. Excellent. This is what it looks like. Let me just give you a close-up of it, and so you can see it's staying true to myself. A lot of waves in the different directions, and the way I am styling this one, you could just actually, it's a good petal where there is a lot enough going on the top, right, where you can just leave it as is. Actually, you don't even have to do anything with that, and just glue the edges, just glue the bottom, and you can leave it alone like that. You can do one side up, one side down. I think that would be, that would look pretty good. You could maybe just curl up just as flops. The way I'm doing it is I bent it and I gave it a line right in between, like right in the middle. It's very gentle, you don't need to press it down very hard. And then I have curled the sides down with both of these flops, not just this one, but not this one, this wave just stays straight. Okay, so that's that. This one is also using my first 2 layers same size, not reducing it by any inches. So I've glued this on. This is also 4.5 inches as in my tutorial for template 1 to 3, because I finished all of them at the same time. So when I was setting it up, I actually cut all of them at the same time. So I'm giving my base pretty wide, but when I'm going to be gluing it on, right, I'm going to bring this petal pretty far in, and the reason I'm doing that is because like if you compare, let me grab a template for my this is my template number 2, right? So I just want to show you side by side the reason why I'm bringing it so down so much. Let me see if I have anything flatter. I don't. Okay, I already started curling this one up, so I'm just gonna flatten it out to explain to you why I'm pulling this one in so much more. If you look at these 2 petals, right, like the space between this outer point and the base of it is pretty significant, right? Like as it goes down towards the end, it slims down quite a bit, like relative to this one. They are pretty compatible on the top, but you can see just how much more space is being negated for this petal. And so what you don't want to do is that, because it's so skinny on the bottom, if you leave it right here, it's just going to be like super floppy. Like, if you just do it 1 inch, it's going to be, even if you set your base to be 110-pound paper, it'll flop. And so the end of it, look of it, you'll still be able to like position it on a wall and whatnot, but it'll just be so much harder to work with. And so to compensate for this floppiness, right, what you want to do is you want to bring it in quite a bit inside. Maybe do it more like, for 1.5 inches. And so I'm starting out on my, let me just use this. I'm doing this to make sure that my glue spreads around and it just doesn't get stuck in one spot as a glob of glue. And I'm going to do the other petal on the opposite side of it. So again, right, I'll be bringing it in quite a bit more. And don't worry that, like, if you bring it in, because, if you bring it in pretty deep, and like I'm here almost like a 2 inches, right? Well, then what does it do to your sides, right? Then does bringing this lower, does this put it, does then this distance become similar to this one, and it still doesn't, right? Because I mean, you saw it that the reduction from the sides was pretty much from the very start, and so you're still gonna see that it's a long and skinny template as opposed to this one where I think it's fuller one. Okay, so let me finish up with the rest here. I'm gonna put this one in here. And this one right in here. I'm just gonna go over. Have to be careful because while the glue is still hot, you don't want to move it so hard that you get it out of its position. And the reason I also set my bases to be pretty big, right, is that if you are using this for the backdrops, which is what I'm going to do it, having a white base is so much easier to, when it comes down to putting your flowers on your base. I mean, whatever you decide doing, right? Whether it's a foam board or if you, I don't know, are you attaching it to the poster board and so on and so forth. And regardless whether you do it with, if you're attaching it using whatever method, even if it's clips, which I don't particularly care for, or if it's a hot glue, which I think ends up being like the sturdiest. Having all that extra real estate space makes it easier on you later on. So that's just something to remember. And so again, right, this is going to be brought in pretty white inside, and I think I might actually start overlapping, so I'm going to make sure that I leave one side unglued and just make sure that I'm gluing the right side. I'm going to give it a tad more and a little bit higher to make sure that it adheres really nicely, and it's not flopping on me later. No, actually maybe not. Maybe I will not be overlapping. Okay, there is that. And what ended up happening when I was cutting my petals, I was planning to cut gold fringes at the same time, but I forgot to disconnect one project. I already had a new session of design space going, right? And when I started the cut, it pulled in from the other project, and I ended up having additional petals as a result of that. In any case, where I'm going with this is I'm going to make a tutorial of showing you how you can take several different templates and still put them together and have a quite a beautiful flower. And it's going to be gorgeous, unique, and the teaching point of it is that, you know, if you have a mistake, don't just throw the paper away. Try to salvage it. I actually have quite a bit of a leftovers, you know, petals, because it did take me a while to learn how to calculate them quickly. You know, my counting would be off when I was setting it up, my projects in the design space, and eventually, and I would end up with like extras, you know, and I never threw them away. I just tried to incorporate them in some other times. I also sometimes will squeeze in petals in my design space, is project itself, right? If there is still like, I have enough petals for my flower, but then there is a leftover paper that I can see. I just can't bring myself to like waste it. Okay, so these are in place. Now for this petal, I also have a cutout made out of the gold. What I want to do is I want to see if I want to change it up, right, where my last layer is going to be one white petal one gold or if I want to do it all gold. So I'm just measuring it, you see. I mean, it's not bad, but I think I'm thinking, guys. No, I think if I wanted to interchange it, that I should have interchanged all of them and used both colors right from the start. So I'm just gonna finish up here with white, as was my original plan. I'm going to finish all of the edges. I still don't think will be overlapping, and so I didn't worry about leaving the corner unglued. Also, I think I'll be okay. Just trying to make sure that my last layer is attached, and you know, now that I was looking at it, it's pretty wide, so I actually could have gotten away with it's hot, doing one more layer, and so maybe I will use the gold after all. We're gonna find out in a minute, where there is enough space for one more layer. And that's what ends up happening, right, when your end is pretty thin. Oh, I see what I did wrong. Okay. I got a little too... There is no such thing as like a perfect everything. And I think it's important for you to see behind the scene. So then when you are putting these flowers together, if you run into problems, you know what to do. I think that's a big part. Yeah, no, that's kind of like not here, not there. Okay, so I have this cutouts. I don't even remember where they are from. So I'm gonna see if I can somehow incorporate them and have that picking out, you know, the gold from my very white flower, or if I should just use 4 of this. So let me quickly finish up curling them. I'm just gonna do 3 of them at the same time because I think I'm only gonna try to squeeze in 4. Okay, so I'm going to give that line, but for the curling I'm only going to do 2. The reason to that is because at this point it's a small petal and I'm just not comfortable holding it. So finishing it up here. Not let me running out of the glue. So let me pop in the glue in. One. So I wanted to mention that, you know, a lot of my centers tend to be fluffy, and the reason they tend to be fluffy is because, you know, I have quite a bit of a center to cover up. However, one of the ways to cover up that center is to introduce another layer, right? I mean, clearly it's not going to work with this size, and the reason to that is because this is 3.75, this is also 3.75. But if I was to set this to like 3 inches, right, then I could put in more, and that would take up more of this real estate space, and then I could use, I don't know, like a 1-piece center like this to put it in the middle. So that's just something to like consider and remember. So let's see if I'm gonna put 4 and what that's gonna look like. And I think it looks pretty nice, and I'm definitely gonna go for that. So there we have it. we're finishing it up with our center. So I'm going to quickly glue this. I'm going to put this one in here. And you know, the alignment is not going to be precise, right? Because there is really no way to force it to lie in between each petal. The reason to that is because, you know, now you only have 4. So on some of them, it will absolutely be on the top of the other petal. But that's appropriate because that's where your count is at. Okay. Let's bring this in a little bit, just a tad more, because otherwise it's covering it up completely, the white petal right there. So as you guys can see, right, that like I do quite a bit on a fly, and you know, I invite you, you know what guys, I think I'll be able to squeeze in 5. Oh great, I actually prefer the Wi-Fi, but what I'm going to do is I need to be able to tuck it in, right? So let me think what I can do. The tucking, all right, I'll figure that out in a minute. Again, right, it's very important for me to show you like the real scene, how, you know, I know that I do know the calculations, right? But sometimes you start to put things together and they come out something completely different. And so of course I could have done this trial run first and then record video when I know my exact precise steps, but I think that would be robbing you from a real opportunity to learn. I mean, I've definitely been burned where like I'll watch a YouTube, right, and then I'll try to recreate and it's completely different. I'll be like, what? You know, the video made it so easy. So I think I'm gonna try to lift it because I do want to tuck it in. It just bothers me when it's not tucked in. So I'm gonna get in there with my tweezers and just try to lift it. I just need a little bit. Yep, and that's gonna do just great. I need a little bit more. Okay, can you guys hear the paper ripping? But that's all right. Perfect. So, you know, I absolutely could just, you know, try to put this together first and then make a video and speed it up and just show you how everything easy and beautiful is. But the truth is, you know, once you do something in real life, it's completely different. And so I want to capture as much of a real life as possible. And, you know, I am speeding up where like I style this flower, I mean, my petals beforehand. So, okay. Now I'm just gonna give a glue right here in the middle. Pretty generous amount. Put my flower in and okay, let me do my tweezers. Actually, I think that would have worked too. And there we have it. I'm actually going to let's see. You know, I made my tutorial for my second template in the same night, and so it's right here, guys. Even though you'll see 2 separate videos, but I want to show you, like, you know, how side by side just gonna all look really beautiful. And I'm not gonna obviously put this probably side by side when I put it on a foam on my actual backdrop, and I'll have something in between to give it a better, like a more diverse visual effect. But I just wanted to show it to you. Like if you were to do this as a installment, you know, like for the house decorations, I mean, that just would look absolutely beautiful. And say if you made a golden rose in between these two, they would be stunning. And okay, thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you consider purchasing my templates because, you know, let's be real, that's the reason why I'm doing all these tutorials. But in any case, you know, happy to share the knowledge irregardless. All the best.